Why do so many people believe undocumented immigrants are receiving welfare? Depends on where you live. CA just passed a new law saying that resident status can no longer be a factor in whether you qualify for Medicaid. If they were lazy welfare bums, why do I see so many of them outside the U-Haul and Home Depot parking lots at 6 a.m. showing up for a job they might not get? As a legal immigrant, my wife had to support me until I got my green card and work permit. But the terms and conditions stated very clearly that I was not eligible for any kind of federal welfare or benefits until I became a naturalized citizen. If they have a baby born in the US, the kid is eligible for all available aid. Since the infant can't handle the money themselves, the parents get it. There are relief services that operate on the state, county, or city level that may be open to all people in need, including groups that would be disqualified from federal aid. I can't think of any that give out flat cash though. It's usually things like access to healthcare, a few dozen bucks a month in food stamps, legal aid, things like that. There might be a few people who have fallen through the cracks and are in legal limbo, who might qualify for aid, but I'm not sure about this scenario. I know of a few children who qualified for aid, but they technically immigrated legally and the law changed to make their status unusual. New York City Mayor defends migrant debit card program as cost-efficient and fraud-resistant. https. The children of undocumented immigrants who are born in the U.S. are eligible for benefits given their naturalized citizenship, and that becomes a perceived loophole for benefits. It's even better. People coming here to work walk into an IRS office and receive an ITIN, a 9-digit number starting with 9 instead of an SSN. IRS does not report them to CBP or anyone else. They work using that number that everyone knows is not for a citizen or legal resident, and the government deducts Social Security taxes from their paychecks, even though the person will not be eligible to receive Social Security benefits later. So it benefits the government, helps fill the SS hole with income that will not need to be paid back. The companies who get cheaper labor and people doing jobs Americans do not want to do, and the workers. Hence, all political posturing aside, everyone basically looks the other way and has for 40 years R&D alike, including under Trump. It's all fear-mongering for votes. I don't see any actual answers here to the actual question, so I'll provide one. This is about the US. Politicians find angry people easier to manipulate, especially if they can make people angry at those they perceive as their opponents. One of the ways they've chosen to do so is to claim, loudly and at length, that the reason Americans are having such a hard time is that the government is taking all their money and giving it to people who are in the US unlawfully. This, by the way, is largely nonsense. The actual numbers are off by a couple of orders of magnitude. As a citizen legitimately on benefits, it's hard as hell to get, and even harder to keep going. They are just embarrassed that most foreign immigrants work harder than they do and want shame or blame somehow. The same people are walking around wearing diapers, claiming that real men wear diapers. I really think that says it all. Because if you repeat a lie long enough, people will believe it. And like most great lies, it is built on a very small kernel of truth. There are a very small number of immigrants eligible for very specific benefits, granted by individual acts of Congress, if they are from specific countries, but none of them are undocumented immigrants. I used to work in the welfare system. If you were undocumented, you were simply not qualified for welfare. What you could receive aid for was your children if they were citizens. If you had 2 kids, you could receive welfare benefits for them, whereas an American citizen applying with 2 kids would receive benefits for themselves as well as their 2 kids. Non-US citizen immigrants don't qualify for Medicaid, food stamps, or even allowed to go to college in the USA. So I'm not sure where these people get this idea from. Source: been there, done that. Now a US citizen. It's also possible that people are seeing migrant workers and just assuming they are illegal. I worked on a farm one summer with a bunch of legal migrant workers here on a federal work program. Most of them were hard workers who earned good money doing a job that most Americans wouldn't want to do. Our WAC office has a big sign telling you to sign up even if you are illegal. California wants to give medical insurance free to illegals. It took me less than 5 minutes to find these. The hate for immigrants, legal or illegal, is crazier when you realize that without them we'd be experiencing a shrinking population crisis, and all the economic challenges that a shrinking population would entail. Immigrants also keep the average age of the American worker much lower than our European counterparts. Without immigrants, we'd be in deep shit. You know who wants us to limit immigration? Countries like China and Russia. They would like to see us fail. My boyfriend is an undocumented immigrant and gets Medicaid. Think that's it. But yeah, that is welfare. Right-wing propaganda is effective.